Good day, everybody. This is Doug, the Modeling Hermit, with another installment on the Victorian Painted Lady dollhouse in 1/12 scale from Real Good Toys that I'm working on. And before I actually talk about the dollhouse itself, I want to talk about let's first talk about the noise that's going on behind me. That is my assistant who is running around down there someplace. Okay, so let's get you back here. Boy, wasn't that a fun trip? So anyway, I'm going to talk about some of the tools that I use before we get into the dollhouse. So I want to start out with my measuring. I have a 12-foot tape that I use here. And then I have a little sewing tape that I use. And you'll notice if this is zooming in so you can see it, this comes straight to the end for the markings. There's no little 16th mark before things start. This goes right to the end, which I really like those. And then I have, this can be fun to try and show, but I have a clear ruler that I use. And this one is in both metric and SAE measurements. It has measurements in tenths of an inch. Almost wish those were like in twelfths of an inch or something like that. But we'll take what we can get, or 16ths. And then I have a straight edge. This is another metal ruler, but I use it mostly as a straight edge. And then for my angles, I have this little thing from X-Acto that I really like. I use this one a lot. It's just nil. And then I have a 45 and 20 degree, and I use those a lot for squaring things up. So anyway, that's my measuring, pretty much the measuring that I use. I also have, because of working in these dollhouses, it gets dark, as you can kind of see in there, and I had this camper light that I use. And that comes, well, I'm not going to turn on a blind yet. I almost did. Well, I won't turn it on to blind you, but let me tell you what, it gives some good light. Over on this side of things, before we go on to some of this other, I have several files that I use. Like when I cut something else and I got to square up some edges or something, I use those. And then, I don't know about anybody else, but I hate it when everything drops on the floor and I got to go crawling around to get it. So I've got this little gadget here that I can use to pick things up on the floor so I don't have to keep running down to get them. Let's talk about cutting and some painting here a little bit. Before we get to that, let's see. I need this right here. Yeah, okay. So cutting and painting. Right. So now I'm going to come down here where I can see these things. Okay, so I got this big cutter. I'm not sure where I got that at. I think it was given to me as a gift, actually. So anyway, I've got that I use for cutting. Now I'm going to swing over to painting just because I want to get this out of my way. But I had this tub that used to have food in it for something or other. I washed that out, and I use that to pour paint into when I'm painting. So let me throw that up above there to get it out of the way. I had this little, when I'm cutting, I had this little drill that I use to get holes started, or sometimes just to, drill holes with. And that's just it's handheld operated, it's not electric. You have to drill that by hand. I have naturally a pencil. I like to use the, whatever they call these, mechanical pencils. And then for painting and gluing, I have an assortment of brushes. These are just kind of a couple that I brought out. I use some for painting, and then I have some that are, this in here is for actual wallpaper. That's what I use this in for brushing on the glue for my wallpaper, which is this stuff right here. And then I have one that is for glues. I actually use that for water-based glues. So anyway, I had those, yeah. So I use this Sure Grip wall covering border thingy here, adhesive. That's what I use for that. And then I have an X-Acto knife there. And let me show you how that end just screws off of there, and then you got your X-Acto blade out here. So that's what I use there a lot too. It's an X-Acto knife for cutting. This sheet of paper doesn't look too good, but if you notice, let me zoom in here. You can see that corner in there, how that's shaped. I like to take a piece of paper and start out by reshaping all the wood that I'm going to need for that corner, and lay them out there, and then lay my wood out on that. Then I can not have to fight down that corner and figure things out while I'm down there. I can do it where I had to ease the paper. And on that paper, I use double stick tape, thin double stick tape to hold those pieces of board on when I cut them. So I had that. Okay, now for the floor. I used craft sticks, popsicle sticks they're called. You notice I have two boxes of those, because you go through a lot of those trying to get the best ones out. Because in the box you may have some that are like this in here. See how that's broken in there? You'll have a lot of those like that in there, and some that are badly warped. I think this in here is actually, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's warped. So anyway, you have that kind of issues going on. So it takes a lot of going through a lot of these pieces of wood to get the ones that are right for that floor. And with that, then you get a beautiful floor out of the works here. And it's all hand laid that way. And like I said, you can see it up there in the corner. That's tough to get into. I'm going to swing you around here a second, and we're going to come around to show you what that is. Now, in the kit, they have you putting all of the windows and everything into this thing before you put in the floor, your wallpaper, anything like that. Well, that's actually counterproductive, because if you look up here, when you're working like this, if you've got it open, you can get right in there to work on that wallpaper, like in that one place where I got to fix it in place. But yeah, so you can right in there and get right in to work on your floor and anything that you need to do. You're able to have, access both sides before you put your windows in. So my suggestion, I think I mentioned it in the last video, I can't mention it enough though, is let's get that flooring and your wallpaper in first. The one nice thing that I like about working with the dollhouse in this position too is that, positions, is that I can actually turn the thing over. Like when I'm putting in my, let me go over here where you can see it. My tape runs there. I can actually flip this thing over where I can pound straight down onto those and do the same thing on the ceiling and so on and so forth. So that just makes it a whole lot easier when you got this thing open. You can flip things around, you can get to things. So there's that. Also, I use one of these big knives here. And pardon me just a second. There we go. I feel better now. File. Okay, I use these, mentioned the bigger files earlier, I think. I also have a little file here. And what that, I use that for a lot, is when I have, let me bring that up again. I don't know if you could actually see it. So these are just little files. I use those a lot in my model cars. It's hard to tell where I'm at because I'm trying to put this in front of the little viewer here. Okay, so like when I've got that edge cut there, I can file that edge with this file, and that makes that a lot easier there for working with that. I have a hammer for naturally tapping the top of the paint can down. I have a screwdriver for opening said paint can. I have wood glue that I use. I use good quality wood glue. This is Tite Bond. That just happens to be. And I use that. And if you notice that top there, sometimes that thing gets a little sticky. This is where my tweezers or pliers, needle nose pliers come in. That I'm trying to do this one-handed. But I use those to pop that lid up there on it. So anyway, that's what those are. And then I use just regular crafter's paint mostly on this thing. It seems to really work well for me. And then slipping over to here, I actually bring my bandsaw up out of the shop when I'm cutting all these pieces for this. So I have, let me get around here. So I have the bandsaw, just cheap bandsaw that I use here. And then I also have my tape wire, whole container of that. Let me get this thing, there we go. Whole container of tape wire that I use. So that's the things that I'm using there. Now, with that said, I think that's all the tools and such. Let me clear some of this stuff off and put it up on top here. And I want to kind of show you something that I did. One of those happy little accidents. I don't know if I had this far done on the last one that I did or not video. But okay, so we're going to swing around here. And on this, hello, get over here. There we go. I had this mural on the wall. And with that mural, I started to do the ceiling. And I accidentally used the wrong paint. And they go, ooh, I kind of like that. So I went ahead and used it more. And, oh man, I don't know if you can tell this or not. Let me see if I can get this light down here in a way that will help you or not. But anyway, so, sorry about this, guys, but I'm trying to get this so that you can see. Anyway, on the ceiling, I pulled up sky on the ceiling too, so that it's not just painted white. Let me get this stick on now. So it's not just painted white like most ceilings are. On this other ceiling for this wall, I painted it beige actually. So, because the wallpaper on this one is beige. So anyway, that's where I'm at so far on this thing. And that's something I wanted to show you. Is that, sometimes you can have fun with these things. You got a mural, pull your mural up onto the ceiling for sky. Let's see now, the floor, here we go, let's move some stuff again. Like I said, this floor was done with, getting this down so you can kind of see. Is that everything? No, one more to go. There we go. So, that's kind of an awkward video, but I'm trying to fit this thing in with a whole bunch of other stuff going on. So you're just getting kind of haphazard. But anyway, so this is the floor that I've done. That was painted with that earth brown paint, which I showed you earlier. And then a coating of Mod Podge gloss over it. Actually, 2 coats of Mod Podge over it. And that is the floor then that we have so far on this. And that's all those popsicle sticks. And that had to be all sanded down and smoothed out and all kinds of good stuff there. So that's where we're at so far on this thing. It's the tools that I've been using, some of the equipment that I've used. And that's basically where we're at. And I'm going to call this a wrap. So this is Doug, the Modeling Hermit. And I'm off the air and I'm gone.